Hey guys, what's going on? Ty Arnett here from Vive Group. Hope you're all having an amazing Friday. This is 5 Question Friday. We're going to do this live today just because it's a lot easier for me to hit live and off we go. And we've got some awesome questions today. We've actually got some real fun questions today as well. So let's jump right in. And I've shortened these questions a little bit just so that we can keep it moving. Let's see if we can get under 20 minutes. Almost impossible, but let's give it a go. All right. First question, best way to get more members? This is an awesome question because it's quite often the wrong question. What people are looking for here is a marketing answer, right? They're looking for a lead generation answer. What they're saying is, how do we get the phones ringing more? How do we get more inquiries, more signups, more free intros, all of that kind of stuff. But the truth is that's not where we start. Where we start is with your conversion rates, and that's not exciting, and it's not sexy, and it's not what a lot of people want to hear. They want some U-Butte Facebook marketing, funnel ads combination that's going to look sexy, and they can see it's too much. Where the hole in your bucket at almost every gym I've ever worked with isn't in their leads. Sometimes they're not getting enough leads, but most of the time, if we really add up all of the referrals, the walk-ins, the phone calls, the emails, the Facebook messages, the Instagram, if we add all of that up, and then we look at how many members they're actually getting at the end of each month, the problem is actually with their conversion rate. And we had this recently with a private coaching client where they were getting a decent number of leads. The leads, no problem there. And again, this is, if you really look into it, if you really dial down most places, most boxes, it's not the leads that they're struggling with. But by the time we got through, for that gym, I think it was a no sweat intro. So from inquiry to no sweat intro to intro to on-ramp to classes, something like that. By the time we got through all of those different phases, their endpoint conversion rate was less than 40%, right? So think about that. If for every 10 leads you're getting, you're only signing up 4. And I know some people feel like, that's not so bad. We want it over 50. But for me, it should be 100. Because think of what it takes for that member or that potential member to pick up the phone or to send that email or to walk in through the doors of your gym. They've already made a massive commitment. No one's just casually shopping around going, I might just pop in here for the convenience of it. They've already gone through days, weeks, or months of can I do this? Should I do this? Go to send a message, get too nervous, run away. So by the time you get a lead, that lead should be locked down, right? We really need to treat our leads with a lot more respect, right? We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. So I expect 100% conversion rate, and I know that that's kind of crazy, and that's, whatever. I'm living in a dream world, but why not? Why not set our goals high? Anyway, back to conversion rates. We broke down the conversion rate at each point from the intro to the inquiry to the intro to the on-ramp to the membership. It was less than 40%. So then we dove into that's the end-to-end conversion. We dove into the specific, what's the conversion rate between the between the inquiry and the no sweat intro. Okay, that's not too bad. What about the no sweat intro to the, first class intro, on-ramp, whatever you want to call it? Okay, that's not so bad either. What about the conversion rate from then to a membership, right? They've finished their first class. Now it's time to sit down and go, okay, how do you feel? That was awesome, blah, blah, blah. Sign them up. Good times, right? That was a problem. That was a really low conversion rate. Now, if we had have just looked at it the way most box owners do, most business owners do, which is I'm not getting enough members, the problem must be I'm not getting enough leads, then we would have just thrown a ton of money, a ton of resources and effort and time into getting more leads, just so that they could squander 60+% of those leads. So that's not where we're going to spend our time there. We're going to break down the data, and we're going to look at, all right, it's the conversion between that first class that they do and getting them to sign up for the membership. And interesting one here, we found that it all came down to language, right? So at the end of the intro class or the on-ramp class, the owner was asking them questions instead of telling them how things are, right? They asked, so how did you find that, right? Which, again, that sounds like there's nothing wrong with that. But what if I just turned that around? Because I'm leaving it all up to them now, right? How did you find that? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, that was kind of hard. Actually, my knee hurts, my back. Oh, man, I'm a little bit dizzy. That's the first time I've done any exercise in a long time. I'm leaving it all entirely up to them to determine how it went, as opposed to coming in and saying, Dude, that was awesome. I was watching from the side. You actually absolutely smashed that. You're definitely ready for CrossFit classes or whatever your modality is, right? As the authority, as the person who knows, the person that they already trust, I'm giving them permission. I'm giving them a pat on the back and saying, hey, good work, and most importantly, the phrase, you're ready, all right? The next issue that we found with the conversion rate at that point was that they were letting the person go home, right? From there, they were saying, we'll be in touch in the next few days and we'll get you started. Absolutely not. They walk out of the gym and you have a yes or you have a no, all right? But you have an answer, all right? Think about it. Right now, they're feeling great about themselves. They've just achieved something massive. Maybe they've achieved something they didn't think that they could do. They've got endorphins pumping through their body. They've got that post-workout high. They're feeling great. They've got the community around them. People they don't know are patting them on the back saying, good work, awesome. This is the best they're going to feel about you and your gym and your community and your service. Now is the time to sit them down and sign up. If that means you've got to put aside extra time and hire extra coaches to take the next class, I understand it's hard when you've got to run to coach the next class, but it is absolutely worth doing this step properly, because the alternative is we send them on their way. We say, that was awesome, good work, you did really well. I'll give you a call tomorrow, or I'll shoot you a message in the next few days on how to get started. By the time I'm calling them or sending them that message, they're sore. I don't want to say regretting their decision, but they're starting to doubt their decision a little bit, right? They're feeling, oh, fuck, I can't get up. I'm sore in places that I haven't been forever. That is a lot harder sell than when they're there, they're in the gym, they've got their endorphin high, they're feeling great. And then again, we also don't ask them, would you like to join? We let them know what's going to happen next. Cool. So from here, we're going to sit down, we'll do a quick bit of paperwork, we'll work out what membership is best for you, and then we'll get you booked in for your first class. We're always looking into the future. So I know it's not the sexy answer that you probably wanted when you asked that question, but how do you get more members? Don't worry about leads, at least for now. If your conversion rate is end-to-end, total conversion rate is over 80%, and you're still not signing up enough members, cool. Marketing, lead generation, let's go. I love that stuff. But if we can break it down and go, you know what, it's actually the conversion rate that's the problem, and then we break it down further and go, where's the hole in the bucket here? Which is the poorest conversion rate between one point and the other? Then we can actually work on that. And like I said, for this gym, we realized that it was just like the last 3 minutes out of this whole process that might take weeks or months even. It was the last 3 minutes that was causing him a massive number of members. And we're able to fix that and fix the conversion rate. So, awesome question. Little bonus answer as well. Zombie members. For those who haven't heard me raving and ranting about zombie members, if you've been open for anything more than a year, you've got a list of ex-members that's a lot longer than you'd like to admit it. I've seen boxes where they've got 500-600 ex-members on their list. These are all people that have proven to you at one point or another that they loved what you did, that they're willing to pay for it, that they love the community. These are people that can walk in and sign up today. There is no on-ramping. There is no concern about are they a good fit or not. They're the most plug-and-play leads that you could possibly get, and you have the list, and you can just reach out to them anytime you want. Cool. So zombie members, that's my bonus answer on how to get more members. All right. A little rocky start there, but we got through it. We're doing all right. You guys are helping me along here. All right, next question. How do I avoid burnout? And you asked the right guy. So for those who don't know, for those maybe who are new to Vive Group, I've experienced 2 massive burnouts in my life. And when I say massive, I mean like life-changing, really changing the direction of my life. First one was from my martial arts school career. I own martial arts schools. I worked myself absolutely into the ground because I was a complete moron, which we'll talk about in a second. And literally within 12 hours, I decided to walk away from it all, join the army. This is my runaway to the circus moment. That was a big burnout. And then the second burnout, a lot of you guys will be more familiar with, was just a little bit before COVID kicked in. Actually, I burnt out from this company, from Vive Group, and I went away to my second trip to the circus. This time I became a photographer over COVID. So I don't know, hopefully I've learnt my lesson. Hopefully there is no third burnout, but I definitely have a few tips and tricks on how to avoid it. So first thing is focus on the output, not the input, right? We live in this society that's set kind of very hard and fast cultural rules around work. One of the biggest ones being 40-hour work week is a minimum. Anything more than that, good on you, right? We get pats on the back. You're working 50, 60, 80 hours a week. Wow, man, you're a hard worker. That's input, right? It means absolutely nothing. You could turn up to work for 100 hours a week and just fuck around and it wouldn't mean anything, right? And this is something that as box owners, we really easily fall into this, right? Because we don't just not mind hard work, we kind of like hard work. It's very easy to get addicted to the hustle. At a physiological level, right? You end up for years on end just working your ass off, and the adrenaline and the cortisol that builds up, and you just end up literally like that's your normal state. That's what you expect. If you don't feel like that, feels like something's out. I remember a few years ago, I was in the Rocky Mountains with my family on a little getaway while we were living in Denver, and I was lying on the couch reading a book, and I had this weird, overwhelming feeling that I just couldn't put my finger on. I was starting to stress out a little bit. I was starting to think, is this something going on? Is something happening to my body? I don't feel right. And I was talking to my wife about it, and she laughed and said, "You're relaxed." For the first time in years, I actually was in a full state of everything's fine. I don't need to work. I'm not stressing out about tomorrow or what the next task is. That's how foreign it was. And that was the mindset that led to me burning out, right? I was so obsessed with putting work into my business as opposed to the output. What does my business need, right? If right now we're in a phase where my business needs, a good solid 20 hours of really high productivity work a week, awesome. That's all it needs. Anything above and beyond that is just a waste, right? So be really aware of your input versus your output, and focus on the output. Focus on the tasks that need to be achieved, not the work that's going to go into it. Not just turning up in the morning and going, you know what, I'm going to start at this time and I'm going to finish at this time and I'm going to work my face off regardless. Yeah. Awesome. The other thing we have to realize is, again, as box owners, as business owners, we generally have A-type personalities, right? We have these go-getter personalities, right? We always need to be busy. We need to be thinking. We need to be moving and doing something, all right? And that's just for almost every box owner I've met, that's a personality trait. And it's a great personality trait to have. But you've got to know when it's going to get in the way. You've got to know where your need and desire to always keep pushing is actually doing the business harm. I've seen so many boxes around the world that have worked their way past the perfect box, right? So they've built it up and they've added systems and they've added classes and coaches and members and all the different bits and pieces. And at one point, maybe a couple of years ago, they actually hit the perfect balance, but they just kept going and adding and doing more and doing more. And again, that A-type personality of, or we've got to add things, right? I'm sure if you're watching this, you have absolutely, and you know it, you've gotten to the point where you were kind of just bored, right? Things have been the same for a few years and you think, maybe we need to mix up the programming. Maybe we need to add more classes. Maybe we need to move the gym. Maybe we need to rebrand the gym. And there's no logical basis for any of these decisions. It's just because you get bored. That's all it is, all right? So we've got to be very aware that our personality types can absolutely get in the way of us having a healthy relationship with our business. And then the last two things, they kind of work together, is make sure you're doing this for something bigger than yourself, all right? And then based around that, set some boundaries. So for me and for a lot of you guys watching, it's family, right? I'm not running this business just for the fun of it, just for the hell of it. I love what I do, thank goodness. But the bigger purpose to this is to provide the life that my family deserves, right? And I'm sure for a lot of you guys, that's where you're at, right? And if you don't have a family, you're trying to build something so that one day when you do have a family, you can provide for them, right? Or maybe you don't want a family, you're trying to provide for your coaches, whatever it is, right? You've got to have a bigger reason than just grow the gym. Grow the gym, grow the gym, grow the gym, grow. That's not enough. That's not enough to fall back on. That's going to drive you into the ground, right? As much as I love working and I'm a workaholic and I love what I do, I know that at 2:30 in the afternoon, my daughter needs to be picked up from school. So between 2:30 and 3:30, that's non-negotiable. I am not here. I am phone is off. If I'm spending time with her at home, the phone is in the other room. It's not allowed to be in the same room as us playing. You've got to set boundaries around that, right? I know that as soon as 6 p.m. comes in my house, I can get all the messages in the world. I'm not going to answer them, right? It's past 6 p.m. This is about my family. This is about that. So having a bigger priority, something bigger than just the business itself, that's a massive thing. And then setting boundaries around that priority has been huge. So tips from someone who has burnt out more than once. Hopefully there is no third time for me. All right, next up, there's no way this is going under 20 minutes, by the way. Next up, my tips for 2023 recession, question mark. I love that question. Absolutely, who knows? 2023, it's going to be wild. Number one, mindset. You have to get your mind right. If you are already shook up from COVID, right? If the last couple of years has got you really acting from a place of fear, and you know that you're making decisions, out of kind of shit. What if something happens again? Right now, cautious and fear are two very different things. Being cautious is fine, but if you know that you're kind of quietly shitting yourself about the next year, 5 years, whatever it turns out to be, you've got to fix that. All right. If you move forward from a place of fear, you're going to, as an example, instead of spending money wisely, you're going to not spend any money at all. Right? That's not the right move. That's the scared move. You're going to take no risks whatsoever. Well, guess what? This is business. It's all risk. That's kind of all we do day to day. So that's the biggest thing. That's number one, is you've got to get your mindset right. You've got to understand that at the end of this, regardless of whether it's a little blip on the radar or whether it's a full-blown recession, there's going to be people who win. There's going to be gyms who thrive. You just have to decide whether that's going to be you and your gym or not. It's as simple as that. So that's the first thing, get your mind right. Second thing, actually, the 3 steps, and we're talking about this later this month in the Vibe Tribe. Sneaky little plug there. Number one is better service. All right, your product is your service, right? Not just your classes, but the off-the-floor side of things as well. Make it better. Make it world-class. Make it incomparable to any of the other options within your market, right? Locally, all the other gyms around, make the level of service, the care, not just the coaching, but the all of the retention, the cleanliness of the gym, the vibe of the culture, all of these things. Make them so good that you're in a category of one, right? You cannot be compared to other gyms around the area, because then when people start looking for cheaper alternatives, there is no cheaper alternative. You've set yourself apart, right? So that's number one. Focus on service, and not just service, consistency of service, right? I know you guys are sick of me talking about systems, but systems. If someone has a great experience 5 classes in a row and then a shitty experience for one class, they're going to judge you based on that one shitty experience. So you need consistency. Second thing is managing your expenses, right? Now that doesn't mean, like I said, hoarding all of your money and sitting there scared, all right? Just being smarter about what you do. So number one, a quick subscriptions audit. We do this with every gym that we work with one-on-one, and it's not uncommon for me to find $1,000 plus per month, by the way, of unused subscriptions, right? That cool marketing platform that you signed up to 6 months ago because they sent you an awesome email, an awesome deal. Well, that's ready for renewal. That's $900 a year. Holy shit, that's a lot. All of those little subscriptions that you sign up for, the little memberships, all right? I'm not saying get rid of all of them, but look at them and really ask yourself, do I use this? Does this bring value to me? Get rid of those. That's a nice, easy place there. Second thing with managing expenses, renegotiate everything. Absolutely everything, right? This is something a lot of people are really scared to do, and I don't understand why. You either win or you're in the same position as you were, right? You cannot lose. Take your electricity, for example. Now, I know every country is a little bit different with how the electricity works and the companies, or whether it's government run or whatever, but for example, in Australia, we can just call up a different electricity company and say, hey, these guys are giving me this rate, can you give me a better rate? Your phone service, your internet service, your insurance, absolutely. Any of these, especially these ongoing repetitive costs, absolutely renegotiate them. All right, your lease, all right, maybe you jump in, even if your lease has still got Anything over a year, it's hard to renegotiate a lease. But if you've got 6 months or less, and if your landlord is smart, especially right now with what's possibly coming up, jumping in and going, hey, I know we're not up for a renewal of the lease yet, but we love being here. You've been a great landlord. It's probably a lie. We'd love to look at signing up a 3-year lease, 5-year lease, whatever. The landlord's going to love that security, especially with, why am I not saying the R word? Especially with the recession coming up. There we go. Say it out loud. Who cares? Don't be scared of it. But this gives you the opportunity now to negotiate that lease. All right. And look, if it doesn't work out, if the electricity company says no, if the insurance company says no, if the landlord says no, cool. No worries. You've spent 5 minutes, you've made a few phone calls, sent a few emails, and you're in the same position you were. No love lost. All good. But you may just end up saving, $50 a month here, $100 a month there, $10,000 a year on your lease. It's crazy what you can achieve by this. Cool. So number 2, manage expenses. And number 3, thankfully we've already talked about it earlier, but you've got to close the conversion gap. All right. You cannot afford at any time, you cannot afford to be wasting leads, but especially in 2023. If somebody so much as kind of puts their hand up and says, hey, I'm interested in joining your gym, you absolutely have to sign that person up. Cool. So again, go back through your conversion, your end-to-end conversion, right? So from inquiry to membership, and then break that down into point-to-point conversion. So from inquiry to intro, from intro to on-ramp, from on-ramp to membership, or however you do it. Find which part of that puzzle is broken. Put every effort into fixing it. Let the data determine whether it's getting better or not. Conversion rate goes up, you're happy. Conversion rate goes down, readjust. And make sure that no one slips through that crack. Yeah, because again, we want to manage our expenses, and that means we want to be careful. Not that we're not going to spend money on paid marketing in 2023, but we're not going to spend money if we don't need to. We're not going to waste money by everything that I said in the first one today. Cool. I hope that helps. 2023, it doesn't need to be scary. Somebody has to win at the end of all of this. If you go in with from a place of fear, you're definitely going to lose. So go in, get competitive, and get your mindset right. All right, next one. This was a fun one. I actually had to think long and hard about this question, but this is a good one. What's the craziest stuff you've seen working with boxers? So I've worked with boxers in 56 countries. So I've been about and I've seen some just mind-blowingly amazing stuff, and I've seen some mind-blowingly stupid stuff. So I picked the 3 funniest, the 3 kind of most out there. I'm not here to pick on anyone. First one, this was a long time ago, but there was a box that I saw. They were running every year. They ran a Stock the Box event. And this was an event where they had all of their members come in on the weekend, do a workout, and all the members brought along with them toilet paper and cleaning supplies and all of the consumables that you go through in a gym. So not only are you paying to go and train at this gym, you're also it's bring your own toilet paper as well. So that was kind of crazy. That was the balls it takes to ask your members to stock the box for you. Is pretty wild. So that was the first one. Next one, and I've seen this at 2, actually I've not seen this, that would be wild, but I've had 2 box owners around the world bring this up as an option, as something that either they were thinking of doing or that their members had suggested or a coach had suggested. And that was nude CrossFit classes, which is pretty wild. And I think actually this has been done. I think I've seen a blog about this a few years ago, but out of the boxes I've worked with, 2 of them have suggested, hey, should we do nude CrossFit classes? And that's a tricky one from a business point of view. That's a tricky one to kind of work out the pros and cons of. But yeah, it was an interesting one. I'd love to know, has anyone tried nude CrossFit classes? That's insane. And on that same vein, there was one gym that we worked with, and I'm not naming any gyms, but this one, because obviously it was in Florida, obviously. And the owner found out that one of their coaches was sneaking in after hours, late at night, with a friend, and that friend was a porn producer, and they were filming porn in the gym. And there was a whole series of these. that have been filmed in this owner's gym, and he didn't know until one of his members or a coach or someone sent him a link and said, "Hey, this looks awfully familiar. Your logo's in the background of this adult film." So that was a pretty wild one. So yeah, without picking on anyone, I've definitely seen some dumb, negligent stuff, but just in terms of funny stuff, that's the three that comes to mind. All right, last question. I have no idea how long we've been going, but it's more than 20 minutes. Last question. This is something I'm pretty passionate about. Is it still possible to run a gym remotely? So one of the coolest things that I get to do, and something I'm incredibly proud of, and I think if it's your goal, it's not everyone's goal, but if it is your goal, it's the highest achievement of being a box owner, is to be able to run your gym from anywhere in the world, right? You grow it, you build it, and then you get to travel the world while your gym makes you money, or you get to move to a new country and try something new, and your gym is still going. That's when we know you've really got your shit dialed. So is it still possible to do that? Yeah, absolutely. Nothing huge has changed on that. I love helping box owners do that. We've probably done this with 10 or 12 boxes over the years. But how do we do it? Step one is you have to simplify everything, right? If you're not there to make the really tricky one-off crazy decisions, then you need to make sure that there's as few one-off crazy decisions to be made. You need this to be as much of a franchise model as possible. Completely turnkey, follow the bouncing ball, whatever you want to call it. You make this as few moving parts in your gym as humanly possible, and in your business side of things especially, because that's the side that you're really there to make the big decisions. So number one is simplify. Number two, obviously, is systematize. Once you've worked out what the simplest version of your gym looks like, now you've got to systematize every little part of it. Even if it's something that only happens once every year, once every 2 years, you need a system, right? Something that may never happen but could happen. You need a system so that if that kicks off, your staff can go straight into your systems portal. They can go, oh, there it is. What do I do? Step one, oh, this is who I call if the toilet overflows or whatever. It's there. No one needs to make crazy decisions. No one needs to interrupt you with an email or a phone call when you're on the other side of the world trying to enjoy family time, well-deserved family time. So you have to systematize your business. Number three, obviously, but this is obvious, but people don't put enough effort into this, which is you have to build a kick-ass team. All right? And I'm not just talking about coaches. Obviously, you need coaches to run the classes. You need a head coach to manage those coaches and to develop them and to make sure they're always getting better, and rosters and all that stuff. But the back of the house stuff, you've got to have that dialed up. So at a minimum, I would say you need a general manager, a receptionist, or a member services person, and they can be the same person, right? Neither of those two jobs are a full-time 40-hour-a-week job. By the way, in most gyms, there are really no 40-hour-a-week job. That includes the owner, kind of going back to question 2, how do I avoid burnout? So we need a general manager on the front of house, back of house. We need a member services person. Obviously, we need a cleaning team, and then absolutely essential for everybody, but especially if you want to run remotely, is going to be a virtual assistant. All right. If you haven't heard me bang on about virtual assistants enough, you will soon. But yeah, you absolutely can. You need to have a solid team of people that you trust. You need to empower those people, not just with the right tools, that's the systems, but also with the trust, right? You know that they're going to do the right thing. They've got all the tools that they need. My general rule is set a price point, and any decision that could affect your business under that price point, they're allowed to make. And the more comfortable you are with your team, the more comfortable the business is financially, the higher that number gets. So for example, hey guys, look, or general manager especially, if there's a decision that needs to be made in the business and it's going to cost the business less than $5,000, or the possible side effects if it goes wrong would cost the business less than $5,000, I trust you to make those decisions. All right, and that number's up to you. That number might start at $250 and then grow from there, but you've got to empower them. Otherwise, your phone's going to be blowing up no matter where in the world you are. Cool. And then lastly, do a test run. Start off with a 1-month test run. Go away for a month. Come back. What went well? What went wrong? What do we need? What systems? What tools and empowerment did you guys need that you didn't have while I was gone? Fix all of that, spend a couple of months dialing things back in, and then go for a 3-month test run. All right, and maybe go a little bit further. If you're a European box, maybe you stay within Europe for the 1-month test run, and then for the next one, you spend 3 months in the US, right? And then you get a little bit further away and a little bit further away. Don't just go from, I think everything's all right. We're leaving to Mars. Good luck, guys. All right, be smart about it. Cool. But it is absolutely possible. It is one of my favorite things to help boxers do, and yeah, I'd love to help you do it as well. So that's it, guys. We didn't make it under 20 minutes. Hopefully it sounded good. That was a little bit rambly. By the way, these videos, if they ever feel a little bit kind of crazy, jittery, rambly, it's because I get super nervous in front of the camera. A lot of people ask, how do I do so many videos, especially previously? We did nearly 600 videos previously with Vive Group. You know, how do I manage myself in front of the camera? I don't. But I just realized that this is what's necessary to grow my business. This is what's necessary to help you guys out. So I bite the bullet and do it. But yeah, I get nervous too. Ty has feelings too. All right. That's 5 Question Friday. I would love some more questions for next week, guys, so feel free to drop them down in the comments. Shoot me a message. I can ask them anonymously if you like. Anything I can help you guys with, please. My doors are always open. My email is always open. My message is always open. I love you guys. I appreciate you all so much. Have an incredible weekend, and thank you so much for joining me for 5 Question Friday.